It's no secret that compact sedans don't sell as well as they used to, but nobody told Nissan that because the Sentra went under the knife to get a complete redesign for 2026, featuring sharper styling, more technology on the inside, and certainly more active safety tech as well. Today I'm down in Los Angeles taking a look at this very orange 2026 Sentra, but we'll also take a look at a new trim level. More on that in a bit. The easiest thing for me to do is just grab the camera and take you for a look around. This very orange model is the Sentra SR, so we get a unique front-end design with a more modern interpretation of the Nissan V-Motion grille. You can see those interesting curved V-shaped slats there for the shiny black front end. That is unique to the SR trim. Of course, we have the SR badging right there, radar sensor down at the bottom. These jewel-style LED headlights, they are full LEDs, so LED high beams and low beams. And then this bar here is the DRL, also it's the turn signal. The very orange paint job is definitely something that Nissan has done well in the past, and I really like the look on the Sentra, although I'm not sure how many people will actually buy them, but it does look really good in person. Moving around to the side, you can see that this model is a two-tone design with the black roof, moonroof right there up top. And let's go around to the back, so we get a little bit of subtle chrome going on right there around that window edging. We then have these really expressive LED taillight modules back here. The turn signal, that is an LED module down there at the bottom of that tail light. The tail design, definitely very similar to what we find in the Murano. Of course, sedanified for the Sentra. Single exhaust tip over there on that side. Sort of an homage to aero fins down there at the bottom of the bumper, but I doubt that they're functional in this particular trim. We have almost a light bar running across the back, but I do like the fact that Nissan gives it a little bit of a twist with, again, some of the V-shapes, difficult to see behind that plastic section right there. Then, of course, we get a lip spoiler on the trunk lid. Wheels and tires, let's go take a look at those. These are a 215/45 R18 on wheels that are unique to the SR trim. Dimensionally, this new Sentra is a little bit longer than the outgoing model, riding on basically the same wheelbase as before. So as far as interior dimensions go, I suspect they're going to be very, very similar to the last Sentra model, although I don't have exact details just yet. We're going to take a look at the inside in a bit. They did say, however, that the cargo area is essentially the same in terms of volume. We'll have official numbers later, but they have made the opening wider and more practical, and importantly, they've also widened the distance between those rear seats. So if you choose to fold down the rear seats, you can actually put larger cargo completely inside the Sentra. One of the things that hasn't changed is the engine. It's still a 2-liter 4-cylinder producing 149 horsepower, and it's still mated to a continuously variable automatic transmission. Power levels are pretty similar to the competition, but you won't find a hybrid system under this hood like you do find in some of the options in this segment. Before we check out the interior, let's take a look at the new model, which is this SL trim. You can see that the front grille is very similar, but we have these body-colored sections right here blending with the black portions of that grille. Basically the same headlight and turn signal design. Of course, we get unique wheels in this model on a 215/50 R17 tire. We get a single color design rather than that two-tone black roof, but basically the same tail lights. In this lighting, it may be a little bit difficult to see some of the details, but there's the SL badging there. Slightly different bumper treatment on the bottom, less sporty without those little strakes on the back, and of course the exhaust tip tucked up right there under that side. Let's see how this 22-inch roller bag fits in here. Well, as you can see, you wouldn't be able to close the trunk lid with the bag in that position. It has been a little bit of a while since the Sentra has had a tall enough trunk to do that, but this is still taller than average. And again, they have made the opening into the cabin wider, so they say you can fit a 55-inch TV all the way from the trunk there into the inside. In the US, every model is going to get a tire inflator kit or a mobility kit, but under this foam divider, you'll notice there is provision for mounting a temporary spare tire. So if you wanted to do that yourself aftermarket, you should be able to find the parts, because I suspect in South America and other markets, it's actually going to come with a spare tire. Let's take a look at the inside now. Starting with the front seats, the first thing that I noticed is that we have 4-way adjustable lumbar support in this SL and that SR trim, in addition to the power driver seat. Now, the seat is not quite as adjustable as some. The seat bottom cushion does not independently adjust for tilt, so it just goes up and down in the tilt changes as you do so, but this is one of the more comfortable seats in this segment, given the short amount of time that I've been in here. I do find the four-way adjustable lumbar support a fantastic feature because so many of the competition doesn't offer adjustable lumbar support in most trims, and I can't think of any off the top of my head that offer four-way adjustable lumbar. We also have a manual tilt telescopic steering column with a pretty decent range of motion. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this seat for me comfortably at 6 feet tall, and then we'll hop in the back. Now back here, the first thing that I noticed is I hit my head there on the sill, so the roof line definitely drops down towards the rear a little bit, but check out this legroom. I have, let's see here, about 6 inches of room left with that front seat comfortably adjusted for me. We have a moderate hump in the middle, but nothing too major. It is on the rounded side, so putting a child seat with one of those adjustable load legs in the middle might be tricky. Also, no air vents in the back in any trim. We just get a USB-C power point. Now, if we measure for child seats, 11 inches up from the bottom, cross to that seat back there, we get 29 inches exactly. So I suspect rear-facing child seats would have no problem back here with an adult my size up front. Sitting all the way over here on this side, lots of room is going on back here, and we have a fold-down center armrest with 2 cup holders. Headroom, though, that is a classic problem in a compact sedan, but not for the Sentra. We actually find more headroom back here than we find on average in this segment. Again, I don't have numbers, but my hair is brushing the ceiling. My head is not touching the ceiling, however, and that's pretty unusual. On the child seat anchor front, we have latch anchors for the outboard seating positions. They're pretty easy to find, no doors or Velcro flaps or anything like that going on there. And we have a shoulder belt and lap belt here in the center seat position that's pretty well centered, slightly skewed over to the driver's side. You may have trouble with a larger child seat here in the middle, actually trying to put an adult on either side, but it could be possible, especially if the child seat was in the middle and that passenger was over there on the other side. I also have to point out that we get the blue accents on the back of the seats. That's really going to help reduce scuffing versus an all ivory seat. And then we get those same blue inserts on the back seat doors, but it's a different material. So this is a hard plastic versus the rubbery plastic that we have up front and over there on the dashboard. But it is the same color. And again, it helps dress up this interior in a way that I hadn't expected. Now let's take a look at what I know everybody has been wanting to see: the redesigned Sentra interior. So let's go ahead and close that door, and keep in mind that we're taking a look at the SL trim, which is the top of the line model. But the reason I'm looking at this one instead of the SR is that it's easier to see the shapes because of the color scheme. Very similar shapes and materials are going on in the SR. It's just that it's all black in that particular model with red accents. Now, going on up here, we have a pretty standard sized moonroof just over the driver and front passenger's head. 4 grab handles for all 4 outboard seats. Slide to the side sun visors. That's a nice touch. We also have a sunglass holder right there. Height adjustable shoulder belts for the people up front. Also height adjustable head restraints. There's an interesting little trim strip right here in the leather upholstery that changes based on the trim that we're looking at. We have not been able to experience the base trims, so certainly keep that in mind. But check out this quilted leather. It's a really attractive design front and back, and I kind of like this asymmetrical theme to it, where it appears that the points are radiating from the buckle of the seat belt right there. The seat cushion doesn't have terribly aggressive bolsters on the bottom, but a little bit more aggressive on the side. Let's talk about materials and materials quality, because we do have hard plastics all the way around, as you'd expect. This upper section is kind of a rubbery injection molded plastic. It's not a slush molded plastic, so it's not as soft as a more premium vehicle. But I like the fact that A, it's soft, and B, this tritone color scheme is really working for me. The ivory inserts here are sort of bone inserts right there. That is a soft touch material. The rubbery top, hard plastic charcoal area right there around that grab handle. And I appreciate the fact that Nissan is not using as much shiny black plastic as some car companies. This is kind of a brushed plastic that does hold up against scratches pretty well. Obviously, lots of hard plastics down there at the bottom of the door around that bottle holder area. And they've carved out a little bit of room there for some of those larger bottles. Moving on over to the dashboard, we see the first hints of shiny black plastic as a ring around the air vent there, but the bulk of the air vent and this entire sort of knurled trim strip across the dash is a matte plastic. We have a decently sized bin-style glove compartment here. I think it might be able to accommodate an 11-inch tablet computer, but it would be a bit of a squeeze. There is an ambient light strip running right there across the dashboard. That two-tone or tritone color scheme continues up here on the top of the dash, where we find hard plastics there. Again, those rubbery plastics, and then the ivory there on the A-pillars. We have a Bose audio system in this particular model. Moving on to the dashboard, you'll notice the big change here, which is they've basically borrowed the infotainment and LCD cluster software out of the Aria and the Murano, but this doesn't have a curved display. It's basically a very linear single piece of plastic running across the dashboard. There's a brake here in the middle. Now, this is not going to be the standard instrument cluster in the Sentra, of course, but what they've told us is that the instrument cluster will have a smaller screen and it's going to have a slightly different layout to the design that you see here. But these are basically 12-inch screens. We have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, wireless, of course, here in the center screen with the Nissan native software that we've seen in those other vehicles. Below that, we have 2 air vents with a button module in the middle. So they haven't gone all button minimalist. So the most commonly used functions like volume, power, track forward, backward, and the camera button, those are here. We get the 360-degree camera set up with moving object detection there. And we also get Nissan's latest active safety systems, except for their self-driving software on the highway. We get automatic climate control down here, 2-zone in the right trims, heated seats there with touch controls. Obviously, shiny black plastic in this area is not my favorite because that is going to scratch over time. More ambient lighting strips there, 2 USB-C inputs. We have a Qi wireless charging mat right there. 2 big cup holders here, electric parking brake, auto brake hold. This is not a Depeche mode switch, that is their drive mode selector. Keep in mind we do have a CVT under the hood. Over here we have a surprisingly deep storage area in the center console. You can see that's what the key looks like. This is Nissan's latest key design right there. And the armrest is nicely padded. Actually, really surprisingly squishily padded, as you can see right there like that. Now moving back over to the driver's side, check out the new Nissan steering wheel design that is spreading across the lineup. I have come to like this more than I did at the beginning. I like the functionality of a 2-spoke wheel, but aesthetically, I think I do prefer the 3rd spoke. But again, functionally, I do like this. I also appreciate the fact that they didn't try and give us any sort of shift paddles on the back of the steering wheel. I think that might have been a little bit silly. We have the aggressive lane centering program there, but this is not the hands-off-the-wheel steering system that you will find on a Nissan Rogue, for instance. That wouldn't have made sense for the price tag, but we do get the adaptive cruise control. Over here, we have the rotary controller that controls that multifunction LCD up there. And then we have this button here that brings up the menu. So if you want to change the meter view, you do that, and that's the optional meter view you get right there. Dedicated track forward, backward, and volume up, down buttons are right there on the steering wheel as well. We then have the heated steering wheel button, trunk button, and the lane keeping assist enabled disable button right over there on that side. So what do you all think of the new Sentra? Did Nissan do enough? Bearing in mind, of course, that sedans are not selling as well as they used to, and there are fewer compact sedan options in the US than there have been in decades. Subaru, for instance, decided to go hatchback only with the Impreza. If you want a sedan, you're looking at the WRX. And as sporty looking as the SR is, it's not a WRX competitor, nor was it ever intended to be. But it is a solid alternative to a Civic or a Corolla, as long as you don't want a hybrid system under the hood. And again, that's probably the one thing that I might want in a Sentra. We don't know pricing yet, but it is going on sale later in 2025 as a 2026 model year vehicle. As long as Nissan keeps the price right, I'm actually really interested in this vehicle because I love the interior design. Nissan has long done comfortable seats really well, and I appreciate the fact that we have 4-way lumbar support in the top trims for the driver, and I don't mind the fact that that comes at the expense of a power passenger seat that you might find in some of the competition, but if I'm driving the car and I'm buying the car, I'm not sitting in that front passenger seat. We also have a lot of room in the back. This is one of the few sedans in this segment where you probably could fit a rear-facing child seat, although be sure and stay tuned for that because we'll definitely check that out in our review. And it has a big trunk, which has always been a Nissan hallmark in their sedan lineup, a big, practical, boxy trunk. Obviously, that does raise the rear end of the vehicle up a little bit, which is why it has that distinctive look from the side versus some of those really low-slung options like an Elantra. But you know what? Let's see what the Elantra does for 2026 because we all know one is coming soon, and hopefully we'll be seeing that in the next few months. See all of you later.